I'm going to read 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16. Again, I opened with this yesterday. All scripture is God-breathed and useful for teaching, for rebuking, correcting, and training in righteousness, that the servant of God may be thoroughly equipped for every good work. So, yesterday I said that you needed to take another look at the Bible. And then I argued that one of the reasons that you should do that is because it is the most influential book of all time. It is the book that has outsold any other book, and there's not really a close second. The second reason that you need to take another look at the Bible is because it makes shocking and scandalous claims, some of which are so outrageous that if the book were a person, we would say that that person is either the greatest person to ever live or a megalomaniac of gigantic proportions. So if these claims, if these scandalous and outrageous and seismic claims were recorded in a book that nobody read, that would be, okay, well, you can dismiss it because it's not influential. Or if the claims that were made in the Bible about the Bible were sort of inconsequential because the Bible didn't really speak to big topics. Okay, then you can say, well, it's a best-selling book, and so it's interesting that it makes these claims, but the claims are about things that don't matter, so I can move on. But what we have with the Bible, let's just, put it out there. The best-selling book, the most published book of all time, the most influential book of all time, makes outrageous and scandalous claims about the most important topics ever. So it is important that we understand what we're dealing with. So the Bible claims, for starters, the Bible claims to be the truth. It not only claims to be true, but it makes almost an even a little bit higher claim to be the standard against which other claims to truth are going to be measured. Secondly, the Bible claims to reveal critical information about God. While acknowledging that we can learn things about God outside of the Bible, so that God has revealed himself through nature. The Psalms talk about this, right? The heavens declare the glory of God. Romans 1 talks about this. So while claiming that we can learn things about God by looking at the creation, that we can look at our heart because he's written some things on our heart. By claiming that there are things that we can know about God without reading the Bible claims to be a source of information about God that is absolutely mission critical. And then a third reason that we should, third big scandalous claim the Bible makes is that it claims to be written, or at least co-authored by God. So as you're reading through, it doesn't claim that God wrote it and then dropped it from heaven, or that God dictated it. It actually makes a little bit more audacious claim than that. It claims that God co-authored it by working through people and events to get out there what we need to know. But it claims that it is a divinely inspired. The Greek word would actually suggest that it's not just inspired, but that it's expired. It's the breath of God. And finally, the Bible claims to be living and active and sharper than any two-edged sword. It doesn't claim to be just a book, right? It doesn't claim that it's something that we should read. It sort of claims that it reads us. It has a power and an authority over us that is significant. So, first reason you should read the book is because it's the most influential book of all time. You need to know what it says. Second reason you should read it is because this most influential book of all time makes really outlandish claims about the most important topics. A third reason that you should be reading the Bible is that I suspect that you don't necessarily understand what it says. The Bible is an old and long and odd book. Okay, so the old and long, I'm just going to say, you sort of get that. You know that it was written a long time ago. And I'm going to also claim that you have some understanding of the fact that it's long. I mean, it's, you can just look at it. It's a long book. I'm not sure you understand, though, all that is in play when we say that the Bible is an odd book. But here's the deal. When you pick up the New York Times or USA Today or whatever, when you pick up most books, most magazines, you're looking online, whatever it is, when you're looking at something, nobody needs to tell you how you understand it because it's just intuitive. You know to read the front page differently than you read the comics, differently than you read an editorial, differently than you read the ads. You just know these things to be true because you are very conversant, I'm very conversant with 21st century literary genre, so we understand the differences there. Nobody needs to tell you that China could be tableware or it could be a country. An Asian country of the largest country in the world and a significant player in events. When you read about Apple, you understand it could be a fruit that you're going to eat at lunch. It could also be a big tech company. So the same thing cannot be said about the Bible. When you read the Bible, you don't always understand the world that you are stepping into. You don't know much about ancient Babylon. You can't explain the difference between a pharaoh and a tetrarch. You are not comfortable dealing with parables, far more comfortable dealing with memes, right? And so there's parts about the Bible that make it odd and that mean that while it's not theoretical physics hard, it's a little bit more challenging to read than a lot of people understand. So, my experience is that a lot of people know bits and pieces about the Bible, but they don't really understand the unfolding message that we find in the pages of Scripture. And so I want to say, look, my job as a pastor is to help you understand God and what is expected of you. And I just can't go very far from this book in order to get that done. You need to take another look at the book. Have a good day.